Hello and welcome to another GMP video. I'm the host JonNario and welcome to another installment of my Trove class hidden effects. This is a series where I'll be going over all hidden effects on crystal rings. I will be going over one class per video and I will try to explain how does every single hidden effect works. These are all solo hand tested, so there will be a lot of estimations on the stats and abilities. So if you have any of the correct values on any of these videos, make sure to drop them in the comment section down below. I know I did say in the last video that it was going to be the Lunar Lancer this episode, but I've been getting a lot of requests and just getting to do the Solarion, and so I'm just going to be doing the Solarion because it's the new class that had just been introduced in the Sunrise update. And I'm pretty sure most people are going to be more interested in the Solarion over the Lunar Lancer. So the next episode will be the Lunar Lancer, so stay tuned. And like always, make sure to drop a like since it does help me out more than you think, and also subscribe. We're on a road to 5k subscribers. And with all that being said, let's get started with the Solarion's hidden effects. The Solarion has 3 hidden effects which are going to be called Guiding Flight, Solar Stance, and Prismatic Chain. Starting off with Guiding Flight, which reads, Prismatic Blast and Guiding Light now also applies the Solar Wing Slowfall effect. Straightforward, whenever you activate the Guiding Light or your second ability, or Prismatic Blast, your ultimate ability, you are going to get the slow fall effect from the solar flare ability. This slow fall will work like any other slow fall in the game, and this one will last for 3 seconds. However, if you're using the Prismatic Blast, the slow fall will remain until the ability deactivates. So you can technically have this slow fall indefinitely if you keep just using stuff like cell assembly to regenerate your energy. And yeah, that's it. Overall, this ability is mediocre at best. Giving slowfall to all of your abilities is just bad in my eyes, because you already had the solar flare ability that is already granting you this slowfall, so you really don't need this on every single ability, so why would you want it if you can already get it with one ability? Honestly, skip this ability, this will bring you more drawbacks than benefits. Next up, the second ability is called Solar Stance, which reads, this will remove the solar wind effects, now applying a damage reduction buff for a short time instead. Again, another straightforward ability. So what it does is when you use the solar flare ability, instead of getting the solar wing slow fall effect, you are going to get a damage reduction which is shown below your level. This damage reduction seems to be around 18% damage reduction and it will last for 5 seconds. This does not have a cooldown and it will activate as soon as you do press the solar flare button. Now, this is something that is not mentioned in the description of this ability, but this hidden effect also removes the cooldown of the solar flare ability. Solar flare normally has a 2-second cooldown, but this ability will actually remove that completely, which is going to make this ability somewhat spammable. And that's about it. Overall, this ability can be quite interesting, but I still find it quite mediocre. A damage reduction is fine, but 18% seems quite low. However, this ability does have no cooldown, and it also removes the cooldown solar flare, which might make it some interesting setup with the Solarion and the solar flare ability. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of experience with this class, so let me know if this is actually very nice for this class. But for the brief time that I did manage to use this class, solar flare seems to be the ability that you end up using the least. And also considering that the potential of the next ability, I will say that skip this ability as well. Speaking of the last ability is called Prismatic Chain, which reads, Prismatic Blast causes enemies damaged by it to also fire up a Prismatic Blast, damaging nearby enemies. Alright, so I've done testing for 2 hours, probably even more actually at this point, and I'm still not 100% sure about all of the properties on this ability, so do bear with me on this one. So, when you do hit an enemy with the Prismatic Blast ultimate ability, and yes, this does include the Class Gem explosion, there's around a 50 to 60% chance that the enemy that got hit by the explosion to be affected by this hidden effect. If the enemy is affected by this hidden effect, then the enemy will also do a Prismatic Blast explosion, dealing damage to itself and all enemies around it, and if that explosion hits, it's going to cause another explosion, and so on and so on and so on. Hence, Prismatic Chain, since it does a chain reaction. You can have up to a maximum of 4 explosions going on at the same time, 1 from Solarion, 1 from the Class Gem, and 2 from the explosion, which is going to be 1 for each enemy. There's a limit of 2 enemies be affected by this hidden effect at the same time. Every explosion damage does stack with one another, and every single one does 4 times damage multiplier in the same way as the regular Prismatic Blast. This ability has no cooldown, so you can technically just have this explosion indefinitely. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I know that there was a lot of explanation on this ability, so pretty much the bottom line is going to be that you're going to trigger more explosion if you do hit enemies with your ultimate ability, causing chain reaction and just causing more explosion. That's it. And so it's an obvious pick. Get it. You essentially are buffing your ultimate ability with more burst damage. And even if you're fighting a boss, which it is going to be essentially just a one-on-one encounter, you can still affect that boss with this Prismatic Chain effect, because you are going to be hitting the enemy, and the enemy, if it is affected, it can cause an explosion damaging itself and all enemies around it. So yes, even fighting up against a boss, it is going to be doing damage to itself as well. So yes, it's going to do more damage. So this is going to be a must pick for Solarion, and an ability that you should have all the time if you want the highest potential DPS. And that's it. Thank you for watching as always, and this has been all of the hidden effects for the Solarion.